something exciting that Cam Matrix is our sisters partners are doing.
The Florida Community Association Expo is a 24-hour, 7 days a week, 365 days a year online resource for Florida Community Association leaders, owners, and managers. Our mission is to open the lines of communication for everyone in a Florida deed-restricted community in an effort to help you build a thriving community and protect all owners' property values. What resources do we provide? An exhibition of service providers of deed-restricted community associations, education workshops of various topics presented by management firms and exhibiting service providers. These workshops are presented live and then available on demand. Industry information. We keep you posted on the latest industry news which could affect your association. Interactive learning sessions with service providers to build trusting relationships before you make your hiring decisions. What area of Florida do we cover? The entire state of Florida. What is the membership fee to subscribe? There is no fee to join or visit our site of resources. We are here to expand the knowledge of Community Association Board of Directors, as well as anyone living in a Florida deed-restricted community.
Okay, it should be coming up here.
So my name is Tara Stone. I am the CEO and founder of Stone Claims Group, and this is my husband, Urosh Vasilovich.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. And we're actually broadcasting live from Montenegro. Does anyone want to go in the chat and guess where Montenegro is? It's not a river. It's not a dish. It's actually a country.
Not a salad.
Did you guys what? Okay, I have a question. Did you guys just get married, or have you always been married?
We've been married. We did a ceremony in Montenegro, which is my home country, for my side of the family. It was just a wedding reception. It wasn't, the church or the paperwork and all that stuff, because we already did that last year. So it was really nice to be here and, welcome a lot of our American guests. They flew across the big pond. We had about 30 American guests come from the U.S. and kind of celebrate our love with all of my family. So it was very exciting.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I didn't know you guys were a couple.
You didn't know?
I did not know y'all were a couple.
Yeah, so Urosh is our director of marketing, and I am been doing this forever. So my background is I've been in claims since the late 90s. I was a manager with Allstate. I did 10 years with State Farm Insurance Company, specializing in commercial claims going all across the country. I settled over 12,000 claims for the insurance carrier that spanned all states except 11 where I lived over a month. So there's not much that I haven't seen where it comes to wind and hail and fires and pipe freezes and floods. You name it, that's where my specialty is. In 2014, started representing policyholders with my old business partner, which has since retired. He was one of the grandfathers of public adjusting in the Florida market. And now here we are in 18 states. We only represent complex commercial claims. That's our widget, our specialty of what we do. And 80% of that is condominium associations. And the other 20% is government work, where we actually do claims for cities and counties and municipalities, as well as put together their FEMA project worksheets and submittals and proposals. So it's been a fun and exciting journey along the way. We also have some exciting news. Oh, the Adriatic Sea. All right. Good job, Steve.
He got it.
Great job. Not a lot of people know it, so that's actually a really good job.
Yeah.
Small.
It's right by Croatia, directly across from the boot of Italy, the toe of Italy, so to speak, north of Greece. That should give you an idea of where to throw the dart. So that's how stone claims came to be. And like I said, when you get to insurance claims and then you mix 718 and 720 and board politics and dynamics together, it gives you a whole new view of insurance and condo board. So we're going to talk about a little bit today about navigating association insurance claims and the good and the bad and ugly of, you know, what pitfalls to look out for. We're in hurricane season. We went through all of August without a named storm. It's the first time this happened in how long?
5 years in Florida.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. So hopefully this year nothing will come big, but it's been later and later. If you remember, Michael was towards October 11th, and then we had Sally and Zeta. Zeta being a Z was way towards the end of October. So it's still very relevant. We should keep all eyes on the tropics, as Jim Cantori says.
Well, and I just want to give everybody a heads up. There might be a little bit of a delay between the screen and our voices sometimes. And that is strictly because we are on this it's more of a login type deal instead of a Zoom where you're having to upload us. And it's also because we have more people. At the end of the presentation, let's try unmuting everyone. And if you want to unmute yourself, you can, and you can ask questions. And while she's presenting, if you'd like to ask a question, you can also put it in the chat. And as questions come up, I'll pop in and let them know that a question's up so that I can ask it on screen for them right then and there. And kind of breaks up the monotony of the presentation a little bit for everybody, keeps everybody on their toes. So with that being said, I'm gonna mute myself. I'm gonna turn off my screen, and I'm gonna just turn over the presentation to you guys. I want to thank you so much for being here and doing this for us today, and especially while you're on vacation. Who knew when we scheduled this? Because we did schedule this a really long time ago. So
yes.
So all right. Well, thank you guys, and I'll be right here if anybody needs anything.
Thanks, Gary. So we are proud winners of the 2021
and 22. So 2 years in a row in the state of Florida. As you guys know, Florida is known for tons of community associations. There's about 28,000 community associations in the state that participated or had a representative during this voting, during this poll, and we're so proud. We can't be more excited to announce that we won it twice in a row, 2 years in a row now, as the best commercial public adjusting firm in the state of Florida, voted by these community associations. So, you know, we put our pride and our money where our mouth is, and we really like to work hard for our associations, and this is just another testament.
So we're going to cover what you can do as managers right after the storm, how to identify losses, some case studies, and then challenges and objections that you might have by the board. What exactly does a public adjuster do? Public adjuster is an adjuster for the people. A lot of people don't even know what our profession is. So when you call, let's think about your house and your dishwasher overflows and you have your whole house flood. You call your insurance company and they send their adjuster. Many people don't realize that you can also hire an adjuster that works for you, and you should. That is a public adjuster for the people. There's independent adjusters and company adjusters. They can only work for insurance companies. Public adjusters in the state of Florida can only represent policyholders. What we do not do, we are not contractors and we are not attorneys. So only a licensed public adjuster or an attorney are legally allowed to negotiate a claim. So we act with attorneys. Most of the time we can handle them without attorneys. Sometimes we need a bigger hammer and need to get an attorney involved. We work on the negotiation side, but when it comes to actually hammer and nails contracting work, we do not. We maximize the fair value of the claim. We get your insurance settlement. Then ultimately the board hires a contractor to go ahead and do the repair work. So ultimately, we're the quarterback for the insurance claim process. We work with your property manager, work with your agent, work with your general counsel, work with your remediation, your contractor, everybody to put together the ultimate team. What can you do in the event of a loss? In Florida, everyone says, pull in your lawn furniture, take pictures of everything before. I think if you lived in Florida long enough, you know those tips and you don't need to be told that. But there's some other things that you can do. You can basically send out an email before or after and find out, let's just talk about a hurricane, for example. What owners were present when the storm happened. Many times when we're doing multi-million-dollar claims, and many of our claims, because they involve large communities or high rises, we're not talking about a $10,000 claim. They may be $1 million, $2 million, $10 million. Those claims take a while to process. So on day one, of course, we understand we're gathering information, who's there. But when we're looking a year and a half down the line, and we're disputing different things with the insurance company, that real life witnesses are critical. So gathering information about what owners were present during the storm is very, very helpful for the claims process. Also, right after the storm, you can get photos of those people that stayed and videos that were taken during the claim event. We just did a couple $100 million appraisal for an association in the Panhandle. And ultimately, the best piece of evidence when we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars in experts was a video taken by the woman living in the penthouse that actually happened during the storm event. So, we can have all these experts opining on different things, but ultimately that video was the number one piece of evidence. And to gather that right after the storm before people lose their cell phones or move or change can be really critical. Did any outside vendors come in and take photos? I hear a lot of times from CAMs like, oh, the roofer was there. I'm sure they took pictures. Then I call the roofer and it's 6 months later and they can't find that picture. The salesperson had it on the phone or they lost it. To get those photos from those outside vendors are critical, and save those and archive those photos immediately. This is an example. This is a condominium that we represented down in Naples. We did this actually on the appraisal, which is alternative dispute resolution, where they worked with the insurance company for 2 years and they had gotten paid $272,000. After we got through the process, they got an award for $12.2 million. And you can say, whoa, how can it go from $200,000 to $12.2 million? Well, it was 20 buildings. And when they only ended up paying for one roof and just some ancillary debris cleanup. But when you add 20 roofs, all the doors, all the windows, all the exterior paint, that's how we had such a big delta. But these pictures were also very critical as we were going through the dispute process, because you can see they're not professional photos. They were taken by unit owners who were there during the storm. And it's hard to see on this little screen. I don't know if yours is bigger, but you can actually see how some of the tiles were uplifted. She was taking a picture of the debris, but we got evidence of the roof tiles being in the uplift that took place from this. We also got evidence of some of the debris that hit the sides of the buildings because there was some dispute about scrapes to the paint and other things. And this association is primo, like every blade of grass is perfectly cut. I dropped my water bottle when I was going up on the roof and I had 10 people come out and yell at me. Like, this is how nice and clean the association is. So when we're looking at it a couple years later and trying to prove to the insurance company this was so damaged, these pictures of how it looked right after the events were also very critical. This is a loss that we did in Indiana. It was a tornado claim. It was a big warehouse the size of a football field almost. And the tornado came and it was a metal building that ballooned out from the inside. And this was taken by the tenant and gathered by the property manager and showing how much the pressures were inside to knock over those big lifts. And that was another one. They originally offered him $600,000. We got $1.2 million. It was all said and done. This is an example. It was very helpful. This is in Winter Garden, an association. The manager had used us before. So as soon as the storm happened, she called us and I said, listen, send out an email, get all your videos. So she sent out an email right away and we were able to put together a little compilation showing the hail actually from the unit owners at the location. And we're able to secure them $2.7 million. So I'm going to ask you guys a question. So you're going to need to type the answer. What do you think possibly could be better about this picture? Anybody know? Steve, you're always the one typing in there. Come on, give me an answer. Well, I'll go ahead and tell you if you're not sure. It doesn't really show the background or where it is. If you're taking any pictures that show the association, please show us where it is in the association. Those are all good answers. It took a second.
Oh, there we go. We got Jared and Crystal.
Jared's taken it before. I should remember.
I should remember.
This one.
Good
Hi,
job,
Jared.
guys.
Yeah, so the measurement would be good. We can kind of get an idea. But the idea is that where it is, because technically this picture could have come off Google. So if we're taking a picture to show the community in the background, or if you're taking a picture of an elevation of siding, you want to get a dryer vent or maybe an antenna or something like that to have some kind of frame of reference of where that picture is taken. Another thing you can do as a manager is keep complaint logs. Now, listen, everyone knows windows leak during a storm. We get it. Windows leak during a storm are not an indication of permanent damage. If you pressure wash the building, they're probably also going to leak. But if the windows continue to leak on subsequent events after a hurricane, that is what's damaged, and that's what's really important to log. We're doing a 3-building high rise. They're about 10 stories each in Alabama right now from Sally. And there were all these complaint logs because said, manager, keep it right from the very beginning, start an Excel spreadsheet, whatever program that you have. Every time someone calls, they walk by, I need you to put it in here. So all of a sudden, when we're reviewing these logs, we're starting to see all these notes about electricity, and they plugged a plug in and it didn't work. And it was very odd because this is like 3 or 4 months after the event. And through those complaint logs, we were able to send technicians in and determine that the movement of the building actually caused the corroded, they were old and corroded, but the storm exacerbated it enough where it knocked off the ground, and many of those conduits had to be rewired. And we really wouldn't have been able to identify that damage without the property manager doing such a great job with the complaint log. Same thing goes with an elevator. If the elevator is not working, we know when it takes 2 weeks a minimum for the elevator company to come out. But when they come out, all we have is their repair receipt. And then we have these sporadic times where they came out because you're waiting so long or waiting for reports. It doesn't really tell the story. We did an apartment in Winter Haven after Irma, and I fought with 2 years for the insurance company about this elevator. And ultimately, it was the complaint log taken by the property manager. They put the clipboard in the elevator. That's kind of what this picture is showing. And anytime it got stuck, it did a weird thing, people wrote it down. And no matter what their experts said that the elevator could be repaired, we said, look, we have all these times where it hasn't been working right. So roof log, this is critical. You should be doing this anyways, but especially after a storm. You have vendors going up to clean the gutters. You have vendors going up to work on the air conditioning units if it's a high rise. You have vendors going up maybe to clean dryer vents. You have vendors going up to do repairs. Anytime someone's on that roof, it should be documented who was there, why they were there, and what specific buildings they were on. Especially after a storm event, you're going to have people coming out of the woodwork looking at those roofs, and different repairs are going to be made by different vendors, and being able to identify has been really critical for us. And then also, if you navigate the insurance claim alone without a public adjuster, you want to keep anytime you communicate with the insurance company logged. There will be hundreds, if not thousands of times when it's all said and done and you will not remember. This is an example of a complaint log that we used on one in the Panhandle, help us get the windows paid for. So now we're going to talk about some overlooked building damages. So here is an example of unsealed shingles. So everyone knows that if you look up on a roof and seeing a shingle missing, right, we can see that many times from the ground. And we know that that's damage. But a definition when I worked for the insurance company was torn, creased, or missing when it comes to shingles. So in the shingle picture, if I can make it here, let me go full. Can you guys see that bigger now? So here you can actually see where a couple of these pieces were missing, but then you can see where the popsicle sticks were underneath. Those popsicle sticks we put on there just so that when we took a photo, we could give the idea of where it was taken and what we're talking about to the insurance adjuster. But if you look at the picture on the left, that's this building. So this is in Orlando. This was after Irma. They called the insurance adjuster. They said, hey, your claim is under your deductible. You just have a few shingles, a little bit of ridge shingles. And if you look at the roof and you just get up there and do a quick overview, that's all you have is a little bit on the ridge and a couple missing shingles. Do a repair and call it a day. But when we went up and did our full and complete investigation, we found that they actually ripped up through the underside. So this picture gives you a close-up of what we're talking about. And you see how there's a big chunk up here at the top where the red arrows are poking in the middle? That actually took a piece of the shingle below. And if you look at the one on the right-hand side, you see how it's missing? That chunk is down below. So that tar strip is never going to seal back down because it actually tore the shingle itself. So that qualified for the torn, creased, or missing because this is physical damage to the shingle because it will never actually reseal. So every time we have a afternoon windstorm at 3 o'clock and we have the wind blow, a shingle will blow off over here, a shingle will blow off over there. And over the next 2 years, you will have tons of repairs and it will be too late to claim. So this is an indication of why you really need a professional to take a look at the building after a loss occurs. This is nail fastener damage where it actually pulled up through the roof shingles. And what's interesting here is that an insurance company might say, hey, that's not actually damage. When the roofers installed that, that's a manufacturer's defect. They had those air guns cranked too high and those are overdriven nails. So one nail pulling up like this on a whole roof would not be an indication of damage. But what we're looking at is the whole loss as a whole. Does it have missing shingles? Does it have creased shingles? Does it have some torn shingles? This is on that same roof. And on the picture on the right above the popsicle stick, you can actually see how some of these shingles have been creased and where it's pulled out and loose. And the picture on the left, you can actually see that that is not an overdriven nail, because if it was an overdriven nail, that would be perfectly circularly around where the nail was driven through. This was pulled up through by the wind damage. These are tile roofs, again, slight indicators. The picture on the left where we see the X's, those are tiles that when we lift up, they've been lifted and no longer secure to the decking the way that they should be. The indicator for a new roof installation, it's a standard TAS 106. It says you should not be able to apply more than 39 pounds of pressure and lift a tile over 2 inches. Well, that's a new standard, but we know that the building did pass permit, so it should not be able to lift like that. And we know that that's odd. So when we look at the actual tile itself, we can see where we have some wallowed out and we can see the fastener is no longer straight. On this picture, when the tile lifts up, it actually rubs up against the fastener. And when you look at the picture on the right and you look right where at the bottom of the nail, where it's going into the hole, you can actually see the scrape on the nail. That's where it hit the top of the tile when it came up. So again, as a whole, are just because they're lifted or you see one loose fastener, is that going to be enough to trigger replacement of the roof? No, but what we're going to do is we're going to look at, if you look at the picture of the left, you see the mortar on the ridge tile is all broken. That's wind damage where it was shaken. On the right, we see the mortar. These are mortar set tiles where it actually debonded and no longer attached. So we have to look at all of the loss as a whole to put these together, but they're commonly overlooked damages. This is on a metal roof. The photograph on the left shows where the fastener was actually pulled up and it's no longer attached to the decking surface. And the picture on the right shows dents on the metal roof, and that was just the recent hailstorm we had this spring in New Smyrna Beach. Now, the picture on the left here with the metal roof, we can certainly easily see that metal roof and the rake edge has been dented. However, how would the association see the scrape at the top of the roof without a full investigation? And even though it's just a mark, that actually will corrode and break down over time as soon as it's exposed to the sun. This is an example of hail damage to a shingle roof. And if you don't know exactly what you're looking at, it would be difficult to see. And hail damage actually hits, what happens is the hail hits the shingle hard enough where it breaks the fiberglass backing and it becomes a bruise. So if you look in the area inside of that circle, we see a little bit of the black. If you were to touch that, it's soft like an apple. Like a bruised apple. And every time it rains, the granules wash off that area because it can no longer hold the granules. Then the sun breaks it down and then it becomes a hole. So when you walk up there, if you don't really know exactly what you're looking at, you might not realize that there's hail damage and then go all of a sudden 2-3 years later and it's leaking and it's too late to file a claim. The picture on the right shows a close-up of where it's actually dented the fascia, and the chalk is just to help highlight that for the insurance company. Now, you might say, whoa, it's way up there, but if that dent was on the side of your car, would you care about it then? Ultimately, it's still damage and it still needs to be covered under the insurance policy. A lot of times you'll have roofers go up there and say, you have hail damage on your roof, and they'll come down and show you pictures of things like this. This, even though it's a black mark, is not hail damage. This is an example of blister, which is just an abnormality in the shingle and would not be covered under your insurance policy. So things can be incorrectly damaged as well as not identified. Another common thing that's overlooked is window damage. I can tell you, I worked for the insurance company for 14 years, and during that entire 14 years, 12,000 claims, the only windows that I ever paid for were broken or missing. I drank the Kool-Aid because that's what they taught us when we were with the carriers, that we pay for broken glass, but the windows can't be damaged. That I don't even know how I believe that and how it makes sense. We work with some of the top window glazing experts in the country. And if you think of a concrete building and all the pressures moving, is it going to be the concrete and the framing that's going to give, or these older windows that are going to give? Here's a picture of an association on the left in Panama City Beach that is leaking after a wind event. And the picture on the right, you can see this glazing, how it's going in and out and in and out. That's not necessarily damage in and of itself. It's an indicator that the windows move and those internal seals have been compromised. EIFS, this is common on high-rise buildings. It's exterior installation finishing system, and it can be punctured. And you can see this is a small flying debris, and unless you actually identify these, water gets in and causes long-term problems. So, do you want to take some of these?
Sure. So guys, one of the things to really kind of pay attention to is some of the main common objections and concerns that a board may have. And of course, we have two resources, in life that are hard to come by. That's time and money, right? The first one is we will not have enough money to do the repairs if we have to pay you. Guys, a lot of times, especially on the commercial side, when it comes to claims, at the end of the whole process, the distance or the drastic difference between what the initial offer from the carrier was to the association and what we were able to recover at the end, utilizing all of our resources, our experts that we actually come out of pocket for and front those costs, all of our knowledge and expertise working on the other side, on the carrier side, that distance, that difference in the sum of money is so huge. It's so drastic that by the time all is said and done, you would have gotten an absolute fraction of what we're able to recover and come close to the total repair sum, but also it's almost as if your actual fee that you pay us at the end of the whole process, once we finally recover, because we don't recover our fee unless we get you the final settlement, it's almost absorbed. And I don't want to use that word lightly. I just want to say that you see numbers like, for example, Tara mentioned a few slides ago with the example in Verena for the condo association in Naples. The initial offer from the carrier was $272,000. We were able to recover $12.2 million. By the time all is said and done, we make sure that the association is made whole and has enough money for all the repairs. And of course, we cover our own fees. So again, by law, you can be represented by an attorney or by a public adjuster, which is our job. And I do have to be honest and upfront with everyone. We're a lot cheaper. Not to say that we don't work with attorneys, not to say that we don't love them. We respect them. We work in conjunction in many different cases. It's just that the nature of the beast is pretty much a risk-free situation for the association to involve us and get us your representation in a claim.
But Urosh, we know our agent. Can't they help us?
You know, guys, the agent is a really good resource, but only when it comes to your actual policy. Your agent is not a claims adjuster, is not an insurance adjuster, and is not a public insurance adjuster.
They want to help you, and we work with your agent.
Yeah, we work with them on a daily basis. But guys, when it comes to, at the end of the day, the insurance broker, your agent, their main job and only focus and concern is to be able to help you find the best policy, sell you the best policy, and represent the value for you. Make sure that you as an association have the best value policy. But at the end of the day, our job is going to help you navigate through the claims process. And we're really the experts. Just like when they ask us, we have many of our partners that are insurance brokers. They ask us, they seek for advice when it comes to claims process. How do we adjust it? How do we make sure that we represent fully and make sure the association is made whole? Same way, we ask them, wait, what's good with this policy? What's good with that policy? At the end of the day, just like Tara said, we're not roofers. Roofers are not adjusters. Insurance brokers and agents are not public adjusters. And so same with us.
So many people say, well, should we just file the claim and see what we get first? And my response is to that, sometimes boards just want to do it regardless. However, getting the ship moving in the right direction from the very beginning is the most critical thing that you can do for the fastest recovery of the maximum amount of dollars. Once a ship is going thing, it's much harder to turn it around. If things are said or miscommunicated or damages are not found, and then we come in 6 months, a year later and say, hey, and they're saying, well, this is so bad. Why didn't the association tell us before you were involved? Because you didn't see it. It was misidentified or an overlooked damage. But then the insurance company is even more hesitant about that. So our best advice is getting us involved from the very beginning so that we can keep track of all the communication. We can identify all the damages. We can communicate them to the insurance company and maximize your fair value. It's ultimately going to cost you the same. They think they're saving money by like, oh, well, we don't want to pay you a percentage. If you get us involved later, our percentage is higher and it takes longer and it's more difficult. So the earlier we get involved, the better the claim process is. Can't their roofer just do it?
Well, it goes back to the same question, guys, with the insurance agent. You know, again, a roofer's job, especially now by the laws of state of Florida, is only to talk about and advise for roofing, not for policy questions, not for insurance claim processes, not for the new laws that are just changed and passed. Again, the roofer can maybe recommend a few things, but when it comes to the insurance claim process, we are the specialists. Just like we say we're not roofers and we cannot put that roof on your building for you. Only we can maybe recommend someone that we've worked with in the past. Same goes for the other side. So the roofers don't know policy. We don't know roofing. We know basic roofing. They know basic policy. The job of the law is to everyone get separated on their recommendations.
So when he talks about the law, it's a third-degree felony for a contractor to negotiate an insurance claim. But ultimate, what they see is when it comes to equipment breakdown or business interruption or electrical pipe conduit damage or your elevator, they're more concerned about the roof itself than identifying all the aspects of the claim. We don't want to upset the insurance company. I hear that a lot. And I can tell you, because I worked for them for 15 years, the people that work for the insurance company, they're really good people. And in their heart of hearts, I truly believe that, at least back in the day when I worked there, it was a little bit different. I know I really wanted to help my insurance, but just like I didn't know what I didn't know about windows, they're operating under claims guidelines and they're operating based on these blinders that they're told. And I can tell you there's a book, it's called From Good Hands to Boxing Glove. It's pretty interesting. McKinsey Company, everyone knows them. They're a huge marketing company that shows corporations how to make more money. There was 12,000 slides presented to Congress, and you can read all about this in this book, that took place in the mid 2000s. And I worked for the insurance companies over the time. And the point that they were making was, instead of paying the claims, it's a delay, deny, defend. Yes. Take longer, deny it. People get tired, they drop off, send an engineer in a nice polo, say it's wear and tear, manufacturer's defect, and they'll go away. And then just defend the 20% that's less, and it will cost you less. And that's what insurance companies do. And they've made more money utilizing the process. And I saw that. So you are not a number, you are a risk, you are a calculated risk. So ultimately, you do not want to file a claim for a small amount of money. If someone says, oh, what's a $10,000 claim and I have a $5,000 deductible? No, do not file. Do not file unless it's a substantial claims. You do not want to have as little claims as possible or none. But when you have a claim, you want to make sure to maximize it to the fair value. And ultimately, that answers the same question. Will they pay you fairly? You can try, but I have not seen a time where that is done, or when they think it's done, that there's other things that we could have added.
And I want to add to that, Sarah, not on the commercial side. A lot of times people kind of bundle up the residential side, same with the commercial. It's really a completely different ball game. On the commercial side, when it comes to big losses, substantial losses, hurricane, whatever, tornado, earthquake, fire, these are losses that, guys, it's not really the insurance company that is the problem. It's just the industry. It's the system. The industry has evolved to a level where it's just not paid commercially, right? It's going to be like Tara said, deny, delay, defend process. And if the referee doesn't see it, it's not a foul, right? So without representation, I'm going to be very honest and European with you guys. Good luck, right? I go to court for like $1,000 speeding ticket with an attorney. I do not want to risk it. I do not want to go unrepresented. You need representation. And again, we're much cheaper than lawyers.
So that slide, actually, that was an interlude that got stuck into the window portion. So back to the hidden damages. So here's more pictures of windows, and you can actually... Thank you for being here. Thanks, Karen.
Thanks, Karen.
So you see how this is going in and out. Let me go back to full screen here. You see going in and out. What's happening is the pressure is trying to equalize. So that window, if you're ever there in a storm, it's vibrating or rattling. Yeah. It actually sucked in the glazing. And this was a association in the Panhandle after Michael. And it was a 26-story high-rise where we got many of the windows reglazed because air had ingested into here. So they weren't fogging over yet, but they would have fogged over in the next couple of years. We're going to go over some case studies. This is an association over in India Atlantic area, and it's called Sea Pearl, obviously, and the manager called us out and said, look, you did another one. I used to be an insurance agent. I didn't believe in what you did, but now I'm a believer. So this is already settled, and I don't think you can do anything, but come take a look. Because the insurance company had come out day one and paid to replace the roof. So they thought, good, it's all said and done. So we took a look at it and said, oh, no, we got some things missing here. And that brings us to a lesson. It's Florida Statute 718.11. This is for condominiums only. So guys, if you have a townhome, this may or may not apply depending on bylaws, depending on how it's listed, depending on the policy. But if you have a condominium that falls under 718, you have to understand the statute is the minimum that it can do. And it says coverage must exclude all personal property. We know that. Floor, ceiling, wall coverings. That means paint, wallpaper, electrical fixtures. That means the actual light, like chandelier, appliances, water heater, water filters, cabinets, countertops, window treatments, including drapes, curtains, blinds, hardware, similar treatments. So it has to exclude that. So what that means is it has to include everything else. So we all know the roof, we all know the exterior paint is part of the association because that is your everyday duties. But when it comes to the windows, windows are typically the unit owner's responsibility. But in an insurance claim, it's mandated by Florida statute law, and also the same, it's backed up with your insurance policy, is that it also covers air conditioning units inside and out. Remember, see, it's not here on this list of things excluded. It covers the wiring in the wall. It covers all the plumbing in the wall. It covers baseboards. It covers interior and exterior doors and windows. So these things that are typically the responsibility of the unit owner, and as a property manager, you would say, no, that's a unit owner responsibility, becomes the association. And it says, if it's an insurable event, it does not say if you choose to claim it. It says if it's an insurable event. So if the board chooses not to claim it, and a unit owner comes back and wants coverage for these items for an insured, what could have been an insured loss, the association ultimately is responsible by law. So this going back to CPRO a little bit, these are some pictures, and this is Miriam, he's the manager. He did a good job taking them right after the storm, so those were super helpful. They had originally got paid $80,000 by the time we were all said and done. After they thought their claim was paid perfectly, we got them $330,000. And the difference is air conditioning units. You can see the air conditioning units that were on the roof that they did not realize they thought were the unit owner's responsibility. The adjuster even thought it was the unit owner's responsibility because they work in multiple states. This is a Florida statute. It was hit by the hail and these actual coils were damaged. These ones over here were just hit on the right-hand side, were just hit a little bit and could be combed. The ones on the left had to be replaced. That front long window, this is me on a lift, and you can see where it's pointing these little dots. It actually was a bronze-coated window where the hail knocked off chips of that bronze factory-coated finish. We were able to put in to reglaze that glass. This is on the left side of the building, and you see where the chalk is that had dented the glazing going around the windows. We were able to include that. You can see the hail on the left side of the building, the direction that the storm came. It came like on the front and on the left, chipped the paint on the railing. We're able to get all the railings repainted. And this is the top of the shutters, the storm shutters. Now, obviously the front of them aren't going to be damaged. They can take a flying 2x4, but the box that they sit in is just an aluminum. And it had dents all in the top of it. And again, not every single window has a hurricane shutter because they were not installed by the original builder. These are actually things installed by the owners that are different on each unit. So as a property manager, you think that's unit owner, where no, that's not as excluded. So it's included in the policy. So I thought this one was a good lesson on what you might think would be covered and what's not. So yeah.
You don't know what you don't know, guys. And again, what we can help you with, even if I think the bottom line point of the whole presentation and our message is we are in a very niche profession and industry. A lot of times people that are very knowledgeable and experts in their own right really haven't really heard about us and heard what we do about our industry. They don't know the intricacies that are involved with it. They don't know the drastic differences between what their carrier is supposed to represent them with and what we're able to recover for them. They don't understand the nuances when it comes to construction, building envelope, the new codes in the Florida Building Code, the new legislation, not to mention, the new policy changes that are happening pretty much on a quarterly basis nowadays in Florida and in many other states. It's just when it comes to the insurance claims process, the insurance adjuster is going to work for only the insurance company, not for you. That is the reality of the situation. That is the industry. Again, we always work diplomatically with the carriers, with your insurance company to be able to maximize your fair value of your claim, right? We only want to make sure that at the end of the whole process, the association has enough money for all the repairs and or replacements. Again, if you think you have a claim, first give us a call. No debating, no questioning. We do a free inspection, guys. We're going to come out and we're going to tell you, listen, please do not file this claim. It is not going to be paid. And it's not something that we can defend and we can substantiate in front of the insurance company. Versus, guys, this is a legitimate claim. We're going to go to bat for you all the way until the end. If we need to involve experts, we will. But we're going to make sure that at the end of the whole process, you are paid every last penny that you are owed under your policy that you're paying for. And that's the bottom line. Just give us a call. We'll give you a free inspection, free policy review, also free claim scenario, so you don't have to worry about the ins and outs and the details. Everything is going to be explained to you. I think that's one lesson to take from this.
And before we finish up, I want to get questions and things like that. We have some really big news, and we are Stone Claims Group, but we also have launched Stone Building Solutions, which is the complete building solution for condominiums. So we do milestone inspections, phase 1 and phase 2. We have a complete engineering division. We believe that this Senate Bill 4D was passed to help condos and protect the safety of unit owners. We do not believe that it was passed to bankrupt associations. So we come out in the most cost-effective way possible, not to determine our worth by putting every little thing we possibly can, but to identify safety concerns and to give you a time capsule that you can utilize for your insurance premium negotiations and for when units are buying and selling and the banks are asking for these questions. We also if we find anything, or even if you don't have a milestone, you're going to do a project, we put together repair specifications, even if it's a re-roof, everything that needs flashing details, window details, installation details. We do sealed envelope bid packaging so that we can go out and get you the best price on the market with meeting all the insurance and scope requirements. We do construction oversight to make sure that if you're going to spend $300, $600, $2 million, $3 million on a project, you don't go 5 years later and be calling construction defect attorneys because it's done incorrectly. We also offer the 3-year appraisal valuations, the SIRS Structural Integrity Reserve Study, and the Reserve Study. And the reason that we are the total building solutions is because there's no need to hire 4 different companies and pay 4 different companies to go out. So when we go out, we're doing the milestone, we're getting all the information that we need for the appraisal, we're getting all the information that we need for the reserve. And that way that we can utilize that to be cost effective for you. And I can tell you, doing claims, the first thing that they always ask for, they send what we call a document request, where they ask for the last 7 years minutes meetings, the last 7 years annual budget, all of the receipts for any maintenance works, all of the appraisals, all the reserve studies, and overdoing hundreds of millions of dollars in claims for associations, getting this information, a lot of it doesn't even go together. There's things that are missing under the policy. Like if you have a little mail house, if that's not scheduled, it's not covered. If there's a fence and it's not connected and it's not scheduled, it's not covered. So we find many things that haven't been covered for years. And luckily we can let our associations know before it's too late. We can make sure the appraisal matches the policy matches the reserve study matches the structural integrity reserve study. So long story longer, I want to make a point about the structural integrity reserve study. My belief, and we're backing this up by legal opinions, is that when they say like, you need to be able to replace the foundation and you need to reserve for that. And then you need to replace the windows and you need to reserve for that. You're like, wait, our bylaws say we don't even have to replace the windows. This doesn't even make sense to us. Yes, we're taking the position that you don't have to replace the windows, but you do need to budget money to put resealing those windows and caulking around them and moisture protecting. Because if you don't do that, then the exterior envelope, which you do own as the association, is going to have water penetration, going to have damage. So our structural integrity reserve studies are done in a way that doesn't say, are you going to have to replace the foundation? No, we're in Montenegro. All these buildings have been here since the 1600s. Has anyone replaced a foundation? No, but they've repaired them. So you need to allocate a certain amount of money to do foundation repairs over the years. Yes. So again, this is not to all of a sudden you need to budget $300,000 for a foundation replacement. No, it makes sense. Congress wanted you to have money to do the repairs as necessary. The milestone inspections are required right away. The structural integrity reserve studies are not required to 2025. And I also feel strongly that there's going to be changes in legislation before that. So I wouldn't rush to do those, but I would give us a call. We have free proposals for all those things. All you have to do is send us your last policy, your last appraisal reserve. We'll send you a free proposal of what it would cost for your milestone, your SIRS, your appraisal, your reserve study. You can get them scheduled now, or you can use it for budgeting purposes.
Well, congratulations you guys on that addition. Are you going to keep it as Stone Claims Group, or are you guys going to have like a separate division name, or?
So it's Stone Inspections Group is the engineering. That's with our licensed PA. We have Stone Appraisals that does the appraisals. We have Stone Reserve Studies that does the reserve studies, but and Stone Claims always does the claims portion of it. However, we're going to market it under Stone Building Solutions that has all those different things, but they are different companies under one brand. If you think of Florida, we have Darden Restaurants. We have Olive Garden, we have Smoky Bones, but it's all Darden. It's the same kind of thing.
Well, and you know what, too? You see all the time where can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. You see all the time where you'll have an engineer do something and then the claim occurs, and the engineer and that claim, I mean, to have someone who knows what's going to happen at claim time be a part of the whole engineering process, because just like you said, the window sealing, the AC units. I can attest to that the adjusters, they're all over the place. They miss more things than the agent does. So, I mean, it's horrible. So good for you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any questions? You guys are being so quiet in the chat. I thought maybe we could open everybody's. I'm going to turn on the ability for you guys to talk. I didn't mean to say it like that. Let's see. How do I attendees, mics and cams, enable microphones? You don't have to do it if you don't want to. Never mind. It's not going to let me.
You can just drop it in the chat.
Yeah, because we're in webinar. Yeah, you can still drop it like it's hot in the chat, you guys. Just any kind of questions you have, just put them in there. I'm showing my age.
So Tara at stoneclaims.com.
I got you up at the top. I got y'all pinned to the top. Yep.
Mic drop. Thanks, Jared.
Thank you, Jared.
So all you have to do is send me an email with your most current policy, and we'll go ahead and get you out a bid for those items to utilize. And I can tell you, we're doing many associations that are only 2 stories and not 1 story or 3 stories, because of the fact that they're using the reports to negotiate better premiums, because the insurance companies want to know what they're insuring, and they're having problems getting insurance, and the agents are being able to use our reports to say, look, these are in good shape here. You know what you're getting. We want a better rate. extremely effective of doing so. On top of that, we're having a lot of managers call me and say, hey, this bank is wanting an engineer report. We don't have to do one, but yet banks want to make sure that they're lending money for condos that aren't going to have big problems. So yes, I'm going to answer some of these questions. Mark, we do CERS and milestone inspections. So our website is being built right now. The landing page under stone claims will be showing up here within the next week, but all you have to do is email us and we will get you the proposal for the CERS and the milestone. So you can see exactly what we charge. Our PE is fabulous. He is out of Texas. Texas Tech has over 11,000 graduates. There's only 100 of them that are designated. He's a designated PE. He specializes in exterior envelopes and wind and hail. He's probably one of the most sought after forensic experts for envelopes across the United States.
No, he's one of two that represents the United States of America at the ISO, the International Structural Organization. I believe it's the shortened version, but he's absolutely incredible, brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to the table, and we're excited. So like Tara said, the website will pop up any second, guys, any day. We're waiting on the coding process, but again, we have the resources, the people that are already in place under contract, and the ability to serve you guys with phase 1 or 2 and or the CERS.
So Crystal had a question. Do we just work with condos? No, we work with any complex commercial claims. If you have a townhome, this is the biggest mistake I see people make after a hurricane. They don't understand what the townhome policy is that they have. I would say 70%. Volusia, we're all over the state of Florida. We're actually in 18 states. Our engineering our license is in multiple states as well. So we work in every county in Florida. We're doing inspections right now in the Panhandle, in Naples, and in Jacksonville. So that can kind of give you an idea of how our week goes. So don't hesitate to reach out.
And yeah, Steve, we can absolutely give you guys, send you guys some marketing materials and kind of give you an offering, company offering from our side, PDS, anything we have. That's no issue. I can send it to Carrie and she's going to be able to distribute it to you guys for sure.
Mm-hmm. Anything else, guys?
So let me just make this point real quickly about the townhomes. If you have a townhome, you need to look at the policy. And the best thing to do is look at the policy premium, because if it's like $6,000, it probably only covers probably the clubhouse and the fence in the pool, or the fence in the pool. So many times, because townhomes, they're used to replacing the roofs and they're reserving for it. They just have it in their mind that the insurance policy covers it. And I'd say 70% of the time it doesn't. 30% of the time it does, because when builders build townhomes, they want to market low rates, right? Low monthly rates, which means no blanket insurance for all the buildings. It's a major problem. I've seen garden strip styles where the middle unit burns down and the people don't have insurance and the whole building can't rebuild. I've seen hailstorms where each half of the people are paying, the insurance companies are paying for it. Some of them are not. Some are sending their own contractors, and it's a nightmare. I also had an association after Irma where the manager thought no good deed goes unpunished, right? She had all the roofs tarped, thinking that we're responsible for maintenance, and then turned around and got sued by a unit owner because he said he was on the end unit and they had to put the tarp on it to cover it so it didn't blow off. And he said his unit wasn't damaged, but only got damaged by the tarp that they put on, and sued the property manager and the association. So they had $100,000 bill for tarping, went to turn it into the insurance company and realized they had no coverage for the roofs because it was a townhome. So look at the premium. If it's a low amount, it probably means low coverage. If it's a high amount, it probably is covering all the roofs.
So any more questions, you guys? We need to get you into the CAM matrix. Yoros, you're on there. We just have to get you to go in and update what's going on with your services and everything. And if you have any trouble logging back in, just let me know. Um,
Sounds good.
okay, so is that all the questions we have for Stone Claims Group? I guess so. Yes, that was a very good class today. Thank you. I learned a lot. I wanted to ask everybody, you guys did you see the video I put up earlier? What do you think? What do you think? Are you going to invite your board members? Okay, well, I'm going to play it on our way out then. How about that?
Sounds good.
And I want your feedback. I need your feedback because it's going to be opening up by November. We're going to be inviting board members to come in. We're just getting the exhibitors set up now. So let me play it one more time. Play. Play. Okay, well, it doesn't want to. So. Well, I apologize, guys. It's not going to play. I'm going to put it on the cam matrix here soon anyway. Yes, thank you guys so much. I didn't know they were going to log off, but I think that they were freezing up a little bit. So I'm actually impressed with them being so far away and not having any problems. I mean, I'm in North Florida and I have internet problems. So that's pretty impressive. I want to thank everybody for, oh, I think they're coming back in. I want to thank everybody for coming today. And if you need to get in touch with these guys and the credits, by the way, you guys, credits. We've only got 15 days or less than 15 days before the renewal. So I'm going to send your information over to them today and ask them to please get these loaded first thing on Monday to start getting them into the system. So give it about a week, but they know as well as we do to stay on top of all that. So thank you all for being here today. Thank you for supporting Cam Matrix. And if there's anything we can do for you, please keep us in the loop and let us know. We're here for you always. Have a blessed weekend, everybody.